What if 2025 could be the year that you finally stop playing around with your goals and stop dabbling and actually commit to them? What if this one word of commitment could actually change everything for you? Single people, especially you. Are you just interested in your goals or are you actually committed to them? Because these are not the same thing. There's a huge difference between them. And today we're going to talk about the key to commitment and transformation. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Megan Rhodes. Let's get right into it. Okay, so there's a big difference between being interested in a goal and actually being committed to it, okay? Like the difference, of course, let's take it first back to dating. Just because you're interested in someone, can we get real? Do not mean that you are committed to them. Okay, we have all had a period in our lives. Maybe it's just me. No, it's not. I'm calling all y'all out. Okay, where you are all up in multiple people's business, interested in multiple things, multiple people, and you were not committed to all of them. Okay, can I just be real? Okay, I don't care how Christian you are. Okay, everybody's done it. Everybody. Okay, or you've thought about it. Okay, moving on. So when you're interested in something, you do what's convenient. When you're committed to something, you do what's necessary. Woo! Did you feel that? That is so good. That is so good. Okay, we're going to say that again. When you are interested in something, you do what's convenient. When you're committed to something, you do what's necessary. There's a huge difference between being interested in somebody, you're dating, you're independent, you have no dependence, right? When you're married, when you have children, when you have greater responsibility at work, you do what's necessary. Like owning a business is different than working in a business. Now, the best employees ever take personal responsibility and they're committed to the end goal. They take responsibility as if they are the one who's in charge. And those are the kind of people who get paid more money, who never get fired because they become irreplaceable. A great marriage has something very similar where I don't ever have to worry about my husband looking to the left or to the right at other women. I'm being dead serious. Like, I never think about other dudes than my husband because he is so actively committed to me and committed to our family. And he shows up and shows me that every single day. And I work my absolute best to show up and show him that every single day. That I take care of myself physically. I take responsibility for myself physically. I take responsibility. I am committed to my mindset, to improving my emotional state, to taking radical responsibility for my emotions and not puking up all over him. I take radical responsibility for uplifting him, respecting him, pouring into him, praying for him rather than criticizing him, finding fault in him, keeping record of wrongs. Now, I'm not perfect by any means. We definitely still have our bickering because on the other side of banter is bickering, right? It's two sides of passion and we're humans, right? Like things happen. But at the end of the day, like I know that Landon is so fearlessly committed to me and I am so incredibly committed to him. I'm committed to our family and we're both committed to a faith practice that ultimately guides the way that we live and our actions. And so at the end of the day, that creates a bond, which we know like we're in it for the long run, baby boo. And so I do whatever is necessary for my family and absolutely nothing's going to come in between that. So what does that look like? That means that when the rubber meets the road or when something isn't convenient, I still do it because I'm living with commitment and I'm living with conviction. And some of you guys are missing out on huge upsides of your goals because you have no idea what commitment means. And maybe, unfortunately, you have been raised in a family where they never showed you commitment, or you've had fair weather friends that left you as soon as you weren't the cool kid on the block or as soon as it wasn't convenient for them. I'm here to tell you today that one of the best things that you can do is start living a life of commitment, even just amongst yourself, right? Get up when you say you're going to get up. Read your Bible when you say you're going to read your Bible. Go to the gym when you say you're going to go to the gym. Get an A on the test. Study hard for it when you say you're going to get an A on the test. Show up on time for things. Like when you continually keep these micro commitments to yourself, you are going to become more of a committed person in general, and therefore you're going to really attract a committed person as well. You're going to attract greater commitments. People are naturally going to feel like they can trust you with more leadership. They're going to feel like they want to give you that position of authority rather than feeling like you have to beg, borrow, and steal or knock down different doors or plead people to be able to give you an opportunity. And that's something really cool. Again, like I went from this place of total despair, a complete identity crisis, feeling horrible about myself, having no clarity, living in complete confusion, and eating disorder, all these different things, and really lived a fair weather life, even though I was getting straight A's in college and like on the outside kind of looked like I was doing the thing, but I had a really hard time making friendships in college. I definitely wasn't attracting the opposite sex when it came to even like dating. And then I started to do pageants and I learned how to take care of myself. I lost the weight that I was carrying around that was emotional weight, first and foremost, that was creating physical weight. I got clear in my head, I started studying personal development. I started reading personal development books. I started investing in mentors. I invested in my first mentor and spent $5,000 when I was 23 years old off of a barista's salary getting paid minimum wage. And slowly but surely, I started working through those inner demons, working through those insecurities, giving those things to the Lord, and sacrificing the convenient thing in the moment for the long-term commitments of who I wanted to be, where I wanted to be, and what I wanted to have. And here we are 12 years later, and I built the life of my dreams, and we're just getting started. My husband was just sending me some really fun investment things, and tonight we have date night. It's New Year's Eve at the time that I'm recording, and it's just so fun to dream about the future. And I think back to, I don't know why this just hit me. I'm getting emotional, but I think back to 12 years ago when I was so desperate and I was a puddle on my floor. My freshman year of college, I had cystic acne. I didn't know how to do my hair and makeup. I had terrible fashion sense before I competed in pageants and these different things. And I just felt so alone, and I felt so bitter, and bitter, because all these perfect Southern belles were getting guys left and right, and everybody was interested in them, and I wanted to be short and blonde, and I just felt purposeless. I felt, God, are you ever going to have a husband for me? Are my dreams ever going to come true? Am I ever going to get to use my gift of music and the brain and the personality that you've given me? And I just felt like such a sore thumb. I felt like such a square peg in a round hole for so many years of my life, you guys. And the more that I pressed into my identity and I committed to figuring out who the heck God created me to be, and frankly stopped apologizing for it, and made finding my identity and committing to my relationship with Christ more than anything else in my life in a radical way, you guys, everything else fell into place. Everything, literally everything. And I was Miss Nebraska within 1.5 years later. I was at Miss America a year and a half later, and my entire life started to go in a positive direction. Now, as many of you know, if you are avid podcast listeners, it has not been a straight line. It has not been an easy road. I wouldn't change any of it. And it's going to be darn near impossible for you guys to set your priorities or even your non-negotiables if you're not willing to set your North Star on a goal and really, again, that faith practice, and embrace imperfection along the way, accept accountability along the way, and surround yourself with people that on good days or bad days are going to encourage you to show up, even if it's not flawless, even if it's flawed. And learning to be committed and consistent, even in imperfection, is one of the most beautiful things and beautiful gifts that you could ever give yourself. Because you know what? You're not going to marry a perfect person one day. And so learning how to be graceful and compassionate, even amongst yourself, with yourself, along that journey with that North Star of, okay, I'm going to figure out who my identity is in Jesus Christ. I'm going to figure out, Lord, what did you create me for? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? What's the message that I have for this world? What was I created for that nobody else was? Who am I called to serve? And when you start to take your eyes off of yourself and your own problems, and you start to look outward of, what is the message I have for the people? How can I use my gifts? How can I use my weaknesses to turn it into a strength? How can I use the test that you brought me through to become a testimony? How can I use the mess that maybe I created, other people created, whatever, to become the message that you have for me? And when you start to focus life in that way, where everything becomes a testimony, everything becomes a word in due season, and you are ready in season and out of season, you treat everything like, okay, how do I need to be ready today? Is it for the waitress at the restaurant? Is it for a friend next to me in class? Is it for whatever, right? A positive word on a date, it could be. When you learn how to be ready in season and out of season, then that second, when it is your time for promotion, when it is your time for God to help give you another commitment at a new level, then you'll be ready and you'll pass that test, and you won't have to go around that mountain over and over and over and over again. And so I'm really passionate about this, you guys, because I was at such a place of despair, again, in a crying puddle on the floor of my college dorm room, so many times, just so lonely, so ready to give up. And having a goal and committing to that goal, which for me was Miss Nebraska. At first it was just Miss Omaha, but for me it was pageants, which eventually won me this sash here and several others, and ultimately helped me discover my passion for mentorship, my passion for coaching, my passion for the Lord, my passion for being a strong woman of God, and now a strong mother, a strong wife, and a strong voice for other women who feel like their voice has been taken away from them, or maybe who feel like they're a square peg in a round hole. So I encourage you guys to really take this season of life seriously, and to learn how to be consistent so that you can be a person of commitment, so that you can be seen that way, so that you can see yourself that way, and so that you can really lean into all that God has for for you in this amazing journey and this amazing year this year. In conclusion, we have our Powerhouse Mastermind coming up at the end of March, which I'm so excited about. You guys can click the link in the description to learn more about that, and make sure that you go and grab our free course and listen to more free episodes of the podcast. We passed 250 episodes, and this is our 7th season. Thanks so much for being a listener. If you haven't already, please leave us a 5-star review if this has helped you along your journey of personal development. And I can't wait to continue to help you win your next pageant.